So this is just going to be about timing. It's the 2nd of August. For me, this is the closest Wednesday to the 1st, and it's about 24 days before the Essex show on the bank holiday Sunday, the 26th. I may well go to the Midlands, don't know. That's the day before. That gives me a bit of float. And obviously we're cutting the flowers the day before that, so we're really about, if you're looking at Midlands, 23 days to cutting. So now's the time, and this is the time we start. I'll show you the sheet next, and that's what I do to use to spread the sheet. We'll be using the knockback method on it as well. That's not my method, that's probably, I think, accredited to Dave Spencer many years ago, to adjust and tweak the timing of the buds. It's something that's used at a later stage. I hear people say, you know, I'll grow these on the knockback, and they're doing it 3 weeks ago. Well, that's actually, to my mind, that's putting another stop in. If you're treating each break as individuals in the latter season, that's knocking back. If you're cutting them all back at the same time, that's just a second, third stop. These plants were planted May to end of May. They were stopped for the first time at the end of the first week of June, and then chopped back, as you've seen in the videos, quite hard. And I'll try and put some pictures up either after this or before this. On the first week of July, and this is what we've now got. This is Winholm dying. They've been taken down to 7 breaks, so we're growing this 7 up. Hopefully that helps the terminology. And a plant like this has come absolutely perfect. In fact, they all have on this bed. Those ones I've time to produce buds later. And we're looking at this plant, and we've got what I would call natural buds. So this is what I would say is a pea-sized bud. It's just in the foliage. Anything between that and that at a push is what I'll be looking to take. It's a terminal bud in that stem, and it's there at the right time, at the right stage. So to me, that is a natural bud, a natural take. It hasn't been knocked back, nothing else has changed. That would be too big and far too early to take, so that will end up being knocked back. So this is my timing sheet, or timing record. You can do it on the back of a fag packet if you like. I'll just do it on a spreadsheet because I'm at the computer, and I can add them on if this gets wet and messed up. But basically, let's pick Winholm dying, so we use that as an example today. So as you can see, Winholm dying, there's 52 plants. I'm growing them 7 up. That gives me 364 flowers. And then over that period, or over the show period, I'm using 4 bud takes. So for me, Essex would be today, 2nd of August, and I'm looking for 90 buds. In that box I'd put how many I actually got, and that will change the difference, but that's just me playing around. So I've recorded what I get. If I get to 90, then I won't just keep taking them if they're there. I'll start making other decisions, whether to knock them back, leave them, knock them back next time, and we'll show you that process in a moment. Then on the 7th of August, 5 days later, I want another 90. And then again, on the 12th of August, another 90. And then on the 16th of August, another 90. So it's 4 takes, and they're 5 days apart between the 2nd and 16th of August. So that should give us really about 2.5 weeks worth of flowering. It shouldn't be much. If anything, before Essex it might be a bit tight, based on the average 25 days from a pea-sized bud. Again, we'll look at that, going through to full flower on a small to medium. Miniatures are probably nearer 23 days, depending on weather. Poms 20 days, giants nearly probably 30 days, particularly the varieties, the Aggie, Louis and Bryn that I'm growing are normally a good 30 days. So those have already been taken, and as you can see, Friday last week, well, I haven't put it as a different date, but this was Friday. I took 16 Aggie White. I was looking for 35. I had 21 Louis White and 11 Bryn. I try and allow a bit of float in there so these numbers don't quite add up to the full total blooms, because you'd always knock a stem off, knock a bud off, have a plant that doesn't perform, dies, is not healthy, so there's a little bit of spare in there. So this is a difference. I know I've now got 19 spare Aggie White to take in the next 2 takes. Probably want to ease off on Louis at some point, and Bryn I've got 4 spare. So it's just keeping a record and a count. You must count as you take them, because otherwise you get carried away and realise that you think, great, I've taken 150 buds today. Well, somewhere down the line you're not going to find the buds you want because you've already secured them. So keeping a record of it, keeping a count of it, and making a plan is very key to timing flowers for shows. I don't know which flower I'm going to use. All I'm trying to do is make sure that there is 364 flowers spread out over a 2.5 to 3 week period. You can, and in some cases I have increased the numbers. Things like AC Casper, I've only got 10 plants. I only really run it for the national, and I feel the national buds are somewhere between the 7th and 12th of August. So I've only put down none for this take, 20 and 20. There's only going to be 40 anyway, so if I can spread them over these 2 takes, I should have flowers around the national time. So you can use it to spread your flush throughout the season, and you can also use it to concentrate a flush for a particular show. But the sheet is key. As predicted, today it's absolutely going to be a wet one, so I'm underneath my fishing brolly. Luckily it spikes into the ground, and hopefully I can get through the day without getting too cold and wet. I'm moving this along as I work along the plants. So taking this, and we'll use this one as a typical bud. So it's probably a touch on the large side for me, but at least you'll be able to see it. Securing a bud, it's all terms that you'll hear, see, and probably use. This little leaf here often comes on a dying, and it sits just under the bud. I do tend to remove them, and I remove them with my thumb and forefinger. If you leave them, quite often that's the leaf that will hook the bud over. If you do it too rough, you'll damage the stem and it'll still hook over. So securing this is just the fact of removing the side shoots and side buds. So that one's gone. Now, in a very specific method, you might say flower it on the wing bud, because that is a pea-sized bud. I don't like doing that, especially when there's choice. So I'll take this one, but I probably won't take any more that size, they'll be smaller. Side buds, and I just tend to move them down, I don't pinch them out, just push them down, and they snap off quite cleanly, especially as we've had a lot of rain and the plants are nice and turgid. There's some shoots, but you've got to follow that all the way down the stem. Up a pair. And we're doing it at an early stage so that they're not going to be that big, although some of the lower ones sometimes are more developed. That's those ones. Fun when you've got wasps in the plants, you just have to dance around them a little bit, but I haven't got stung doing it. I haven't seen much wasps. Sorry about the picture of the leaf. I'm just trying to do the job. Right, So that one's now taken, and if we look into the plant, you can see that stem has been cleaned of any other side shoot. So any energies of that stem are going into that bud. There's no other shoots on that stem. It's secured, there's no way back from it. I will then go through the entire lot of plants. And as I said, for me, probably digging in like that, that's the sort of bud I'm looking for. And I will count 90. 90 is what I need. I won't mess about with these ones, the ones that with the bigger buds. And hopefully I won't need to go diving into smaller shoots, digging them out, because it just tends to cause damage. So I look for 90 natural buds that are the right size. Once I get to that point, I will then go back through the plants, and ones like this, I'll do it now, and looking at the stage of these plants, and this bed is only ever intended to flower for the first really 2 takes. There's no point keeping that bud. Just going to take it out. It's gone. These are buds, and they're pea-sized buds. We're looking for something in 5 to 10 days time. So they're gone. That part of the shoot now is of no value. So remove that. We've then got 2 shoots. Both have probably got tiny buds inside, and for me normally the left hand one is slightly advanced to the right, and I'm going to want a bud in about 5 days. So we've sort of taken it down a week because the bud is a bit more developed. It's probably only about 5 days. It's normally about 1 leaf joint per week of delay, as a rule of thumb. You're going to have to experiment with this, and I've continued down that stem, removing any other side shoots. That stem, in our terms, has been knocked back. We've knocked it back to a later shoot that will flower later, certainly than the one we've taken over there. So that would be the next task. I'll also prioritise securing the buds that are of the right size on any stem that I've previously knocked back. That won't really happen on these plants because they're literally just producing the buds now. But on anything, particularly things like Marys where they might bud early, I would prioritise securing the buds on any stem that I've previously knocked back, because I don't generally like doing it more than once. Once on a strong stem, that's, you know, reasonable power there. It's clean, it's straight up, and while you're there, have a fish about. You might find the odd bonus shoot appearing, and I'll remove those. When we say we grow 7 up, it is 7 up. 7 flowering shoots to the plant. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. No others. Others will keep coming, and it's a hands and knees job for the next couple of 3 weeks, making sure that we maintain that. So I'm going to go through this plot. This will be the plot, but this bed. But that's the principle. Right size bud, right time of the year. It doesn't matter if you get buds before you want them. You can do this. You can knock them back. What you can't do is stick a bud on. If I was faced with that plot bed there today, and 80 buds, 90 buds, I'd be lucky if there's 1. I'm sure there wouldn't even be 1. I can't stick them on. There's no way forward. I've got 2 beds, so there's 52 plants of when I'm dying here, 26 in this bed, 26 in that bed. To save work, I only have got really between 12 and 16 hours in a week to spend growing dahlias. Of knocking back, because it would be a lot of knocking back over 52 plants at this stage. A week or so later than these, I cut those back. So don't normally do it that way, but I've tried to do it that way to give myself more time and grow the plants better. This rain's helped as well, but that's the main principles of timing. I'll go through this bed, we'll record the number, and then we'll see it from there. So hopefully that may clear up some things about timing. So I've gone down that row, I've secured 35 on that row, so now I know I've got 55 to secure on this row, but I have left the bigger buds. There are still the wing buds and side shoots in them, so if I don't get the numbers naturals out here, I'll go back through this row and knock those stems down to a bud rather than down to a shoot. You can see the brolly's still up, it's just a gap in the rain. It's actually stopped raining and I managed to get through this bed of plants, and I've got, as written down, 190. So now I'll just go through any ones that I've left behind, like this, too big, and even that I will knock them back, and I've got a fair idea of the shoots that are still yet to come and their stage, so that'll be how I decide how hard to knock them back. The plants always look a little bit like the wind's gone through them when you're just budding, because you've pretty much moved about every leaf. They soon perk back up after a few hours. So that's the 90 on there. We've got the list, and the list says today, including poms, which I won't do today. I'll probably do those over the next 2 days because they don't take as long, and including the giants that I've already took, which was only about 45, I'll be looking for about 845 buds, so I'm just over 10% through, it says. So that's the day's work today now, going through the rest of them and seeing what I find. Hope this helps. I'll try and get it out today if I can, so it's relevant for the right time of the year, and it won't be included in my normal growing videos, because otherwise it makes them too long, as I found out. So good luck.